500 years ago, a soldier stood on a watchtower in northern China. Behind him were farms, villages, roads, and cities. In front of him stretched a vast world of dry grasslands and distant mountains. Then he saw dust on the horizon. Horsemen were coming. He lit a signal fire. Another tower saw it and answered, then another. Within minutes, a warning was racing across the frontier. This was the real power of the Great Wall. It was never just a wall. It was an alarm system, a military road, a line of forts, a border checkpoint, and a message from the emperor. This land is under control. But there was one problem. The wall was crossed again and again. Some armies went around it. Some found weak sections. Some bribed the guards. Others entered through gates open from the inside. In the end, northern conquerors did not merely cross the wall, they ruled China. So why did Chinese emperors spend centuries building it? Was the Great Wall one of history's greatest achievements, or one of its most expensive failures? To answer that, we first need to forget one of the biggest myths about it. There was never one single Great Wall. The long brick and stone structure seen in modern photographs was built mostly during the Ming dynasty from the 14th to the 17th century. But Chinese states had been building walls for many centuries before that. More than 2,000 years ago, China was divided into rival kingdoms. They built walls against northern raiders, but also against one another. In 221 BC, the king of Qin defeated his rivals and became Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of a united China. He is often called the man who built the Great Wall. But he did not build the famous brick wall tourists visit today. His government connected, repaired, and extended older frontier walls. Those early walls were usually made from whatever could be found nearby: packed earth, gravel, reeds, timber, and stone. They were built by soldiers, farmers, prisoners, and forced laborers sent to distant frontier regions. Many faced hunger, disease, freezing winters, burning summers, and exhaustion. Many never came home. That is why the Great Wall has two meanings in Chinese history. It is a symbol of national strength, but also a symbol of suffering, the enormous price ordinary people paid for imperial ambition. But what were these walls meant to defend? To the north of China lay the Great Eurasian Steppe, a huge world of grasslands suited to horses and herding. The people of the steppe were not wild mobs wandering without order. Many formed powerful, organized societies. Their horsemen could move quickly, shoot arrows while riding, strike frontier settlements, and disappear before slower armies could catch them. This created a serious problem for China's farming empires. Their wealth could not move. Fields, towns, grain stores, roads, canals, and large populations were fixed in place. A cavalry force could cross the frontier, attack several communities, take animals and supplies, and return north before the emperor's army even arrived. The wall was one answer to that problem. It did not need to be impossible to cross in order to be useful. A wall could slow horses, it could block easy routes, it could force attackers toward guarded passes, it could protect important roads and farmland. Most of all, it could buy time. Watchtowers sent warnings with smoke by day and fire by night. Forts held soldiers and supplies. Gates controlled who entered and left. Officials could inspect travelers, collect taxes, manage trade, and reduce smuggling. So the Great Wall was not simply one endless barrier. It was a complete frontier system made of walls, trenches, towers, forts, gates, supply stations, and natural defenses such as mountains and deserts. And different dynasties used it in different ways. When China was strong and expanding, emperors often depended less on walls and more on armies, diplomacy, alliances, and attacks deep into the north. During the Tang dynasty, Chinese forces pushed far into Central Asia. A powerful empire did not always need to hide behind fortifications. But when rulers felt less secure, walls became more important. This was especially true during the Ming dynasty. The Ming took power in 1368 after driving out the Mongol-led Yuan dynasty. But the Mongols did not disappear. They remained a major force north of China. At first, Ming armies attacked deep into the steppe. Over time, however, the dynasty became more defensive. It repaired old walls and built new ones on a huge scale. Near Beijing, builders used brick, cut stone, strong mortar, massive towers, and carefully designed passes. This is the Great Wall most people know today. It looked almost unbeatable, but no wall is stronger than the people who defend it. A frontier stretching for thousands of kilometers was incredibly expensive. Soldiers had to be trained, paid, fed, and supplied. Towers needed repairs. Horses and weapons had to be maintained. Commanders had to remain loyal. When the government was strong, the wall could make raids difficult and dangerous. When the government was weak, parts of it could be left damaged, empty, or badly guarded. An invading army did not need to defeat the entire Great Wall. It only needed to find one weak point. It could move through rough land that defenders believed was impossible to cross. It could attack an unfinished section. It could overwhelm a poorly guarded gate. Or it could persuade someone inside to open the door. And this was the wall's greatest weakness. A wall is a physical answer to a political problem. Stone cannot stop corruption. Brick cannot feed an unpaid soldier. A tower cannot make a frightened commander stay loyal. And the strongest gate in the world becomes useless when someone decides to open it. That is exactly what happened in 1644. By then, the Ming dynasty was collapsing from within. The government was short of money. The army was weak. Rebellions spread across the country. A rebel army captured Beijing. The last Ming emperor in the capital took his own life. At Shanhai Pass, where the Great Wall meets the sea, the Ming general Wu Sangui faced a desperate choice. He opened the pass to Manchu forces from the northeast, hoping they would help him defeat the rebels. The Manchus entered through the Great Wall, but they did not save the Ming. They took Beijing and founded a new dynasty, the Qing. The wall had not been destroyed by an unstoppable army. It had been opened during a Chinese civil war. This is often used as proof that the Great Wall failed, but the truth is more complicated. No fortification can save a government already falling apart from rebellion, corruption, financial crisis, and divided leadership. The wall did fail to stop major invasions, but it also discouraged countless smaller raids. It delayed attackers. It protected key regions. It sent warnings. It helped the government control movement across the northern frontier. The problem is that failure makes better history. When an army breaks through a gate, people remember it. When raiders see the defenses and turn away, nothing happens. No city burns. No village is attacked. No dramatic story is written down. A quiet day on the wall may actually have been a successful day. There is also another myth, that the wall completely separated China from the outside world. It did not. Trade moved across the frontier. Horses, silk, grain, tea, metal, and luxury goods passed through its gates. So did diplomats, migrants, soldiers, religious ideas, and new technologies. At times, Chinese rulers fought the people of the steppe. At other times, they made treaties, opened markets, arranged marriages, exchanged gifts, or hired steppe warriors into imperial service. The frontier was not a simple line between civilization and chaos. It was a meeting place between farming empires and the mobile societies of the grasslands. Two worlds that traded, fought, influenced, and depended on each other. The Great Wall did not end that relationship. It managed it. So, did the Great Wall fail? If its purpose was to create a perfect barrier that no enemy could ever cross, then yes, it failed many times. But judging it that way misses the point. A lock is not useless because someone can break it. A fortress is not worthless because it can eventually be captured. The wall was not magic. It was infrastructure. It bought time. It carried warnings. It controlled routes. It raised the cost of invasion. And perhaps most importantly, it showed how Chinese emperors saw their world. On one side lay the settled heartland, farms, cities, taxpayers, roads, and government offices. On the other lay a northern frontier they could influence, trade with, fight over, but never fully control. The Great Wall marked the edge of imperial confidence. It was built not only because China was powerful, but because its rulers knew how vulnerable their empire could be. Today, the wall is celebrated as a symbol of endurance and unity. But its deeper story is not only about strength. It is about fear, adaptation, and the limits of power. China's emperors could move armies, gather enormous labor forces, and build across deserts and mountains. But they could never build a wall high enough to protect themselves from corruption, rebellion, poor leadership, or political collapse. The Great Wall could delay enemies from outside. What it could never do was save an empire falling apart from within. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and subscribe to the 9th Courtyard. Beyond the first 8 courtyards lies the story you were never told.